Good morning, everybody, and welcome to the STAR podcast at AAERT. I'm Deanna Oaks, and this is Bonnie Torrez. She is a transcriptionist in the legal field and is going to tell us a little bit about what she does. So go ahead, take it away, Bonnie.
Okay.
What do you do on a daily basis? What would you tell your, nephew of 7 years old?
Well, I listen to recordings of depositions, court hearings, trials, whatever, and I put it into a document, a written document.
Into a transcript, right?
Into a transcript, yes.
Which takes kind of a little bit of knowledge. Did you have to go to school, get certified? Like, how did you get into this?
Well, I am kind of, self-started. I don't know. I just wanted to get into transcription, honestly. I was looking for something to do with little kids at home. And for some reason, I knew I wanted to get into legal at some point, but I started in general. I just did a ton of research, got my resume together, applied at companies, landed one who paid me very, very little, but I got experience. And then once I got experience, I applied for another company who trains on the legal side. And that's what I did. Just started working and getting trained. And that was 7 years ago. So now I'm kind of doing my own thing. I got certified in the meantime and just kind of doing my own thing now.
So when you say doing your own thing, you're still working from home?
So working from home.
Which is great. I mean, people, especially since the pandemic, 2020, people are all about working at home. You don't have to pay for parking. You don't have to sit in traffic.
I homeschool my kids during the day.
Oh, wow.
And work at night,
That's flexibility. That is invaluable. That is very cool.
So I work like 20 hours a week. I take work from wherever I can get it. Now that I have experience and certification, I take higher rates, make more money.
Yeah, you're your own boss.
Yeah.
So are you a freelance transcriptionist?
Yeah.
Okay, awesome. And so how do you feel juggling sort of like the, healthcare or retirement, or do you have to do that? Did you have to take a class for any of that?
No, I haven't taken any classes except for like my CEU type stuff.
Yeah.
And whatever webinars AAERT has provided. So like taxes and all that stuff, and my husband makes most of the money. We haven't really had to pay a bunch of taxes. Healthcare I pay on my own. And I'm just part-time, so we still kind of rely on his income, but
it seems almost too good to be true. I mean, you get to work from home.
Yeah.
You get to pick your own hours.
Yeah.
I mean, what more?
I meet
could
good
anybody
people.
want?
Yeah, I meet amazing people, and it's really, I'm very thankful that I found it. So
Yeah, most definitely. And you had said that you did a lot of research, but you did the research after you found the career, or that's what led you to the career?
That's what I did to find out what I was getting into, what equipment I needed, what I needed to do, how to do my resume, what companies were hiring. I think I bought like a $3 ebook off of Amazon.
Okay.
And read through it, and then I went on to like forums and pages and everything and just read through what everybody talks about and asked questions, got my resume together. So very more self-starter. I didn't take classes or anything.
Yeah, that's the American dream, right?
Yeah.
They just say,
Having classes might have been a little bit easier, but not a lot of them were around. Even 7 years ago, there really wasn't many classes for learning how to do legal transcription.
So that's a great segue, because we here at STAR are trying to reach out and find out what professionals want. What did you not know when you were coming into the field? What would help make your job easier?
Gosh, I didn't know anything. I didn't even know what legal transcription really consisted of. It could range from anywhere from police interviews, like I've done hidden cams, all that stuff, to the court work, which I really wanted the court work, but I had no idea how to get there. Luckily, the company I found trained and still does train people in that, but otherwise, I think I looked for classes and I really couldn't find anything.
Okay.
So, yeah.
So classes, it sounds like, is what we need.
I guess if you have that information and someone that can help guide you, that's great.
Yeah, most certainly. I mean, and it would probably have streamlined your income, right? Because you had to work a little bit before you got what you deserved.
Yeah.
And so that's a huge
probably could have helped.
Stepping stone, definitely.
Yeah.
What would you say is the most challenging part of your career? Or the biggest obstacle that you've overcome, maybe?
The biggest challenge is being by yourself, not just physically, but like just as an independent contractor, you're kind of on your own sometimes.
Yeah.
To figure out like what you want your business to look like and what services you provide and how you do it and when you do it and what your rates are. That's, I think, the hardest part to navigate.
Okay, so it sounds like
if you're not working for a company like,
right.
you know, directly.
Right.
So.
And, you know, there's always this talk about, you know, income. And I think in generations before, it was always kind of a hush-hush situation.
Mm-hmm.
But really, if we know what is the standard, you know, what are people making? What should we be making?
Yeah.
That's really important. Then
Yeah.
you potentially wouldn't have taken less than you
Right.
were owed, you know?
Right.
So
Yeah.
we should probably figure out a way to get that information more standardized and more accepted so that people are getting
Yeah.
paid what they're worth.
I agree.
Even as a new professional, you're
Yeah.
still doing the work. And
Yeah.
if you didn't have any classes and you had to teach yourself, you're likely doing more work trying
Yeah.
to get to this step, right? Trying to get to
Yeah.
the final product.
Right.
So there's,
Yeah.
a lot to overcome for sure.
Yeah, my attitude was, though, like, you know, especially because I was just doing it part-time at night, was I was getting paid to get trained. Instead of I didn't have to pay someone to train me. They were paying me and training me at the same time. So I was like, this is great. I'm getting paid and I'm getting trained. I'm not having to pay someone else.
Yeah.
It was a lower rate, but I was still getting paid to get trained.
Yeah,
that
exactly.
was my attitude, but
That's a win. I had to pay for college, and it
Yeah.
took me a million years to graduate. I don't know
Yeah.
if I'm ever going to finish paying for college.
right, yeah.
So-
So even if you start at a lower rate while you're getting trained and then start working your way up the more experience you get, that's what I've done. So that's
Yeah.
the way to do it, I guess. I don't know.
What are you the most proud of in your career?
Working as hard as I've worked and that I am able to balance and juggle, still being able to be home with my girls and make a really decent part-time income.
Yeah, that is a great accomplishment, especially putting yourself through it. You know, like you
Yeah.
said, self-starter. It almost doesn't do justice to the amount of work that it really does take to get yourself
Yeah.
started
Yeah.
in something that you have no exposure to otherwise.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm glad I started. I think that was my most proud. Like, I'm glad I just did it and just kept walking through it. So
Absolutely. And
Yeah.
here you are now
I am.
talking to me.
Yeah.
Famous? You're going to be?
famous.
I love it. Well, hey, why
Yeah.
don't you press this button and we'll see what kind of fun question this could be. It won't be math, I promise. Right in the middle there.
This one?
Yeah. Oh, what is your biggest professional failure and what did you learn from that experience?
Oh my God. I can't think of one, like a huge one.
Well, that's good because I can think of several.
I mean, in this profession, I'm doing things wrong for a long time and just getting the feedback from
Yeah.
people.
So how did you learn that you were doing it wrong? Did somebody finally come to you or did you have to learn it on your own?
Well, we get, like, when you start for transcribers, you turn it in and then you have a proofer, so they redline your thing, your transcript, and then give it back to you. And so it's just constant refining of like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
I didn't know that. But so I think that's, and I don't really consider that failures, though. It's just part of the process of learning and refining and
Yes.
all of that. So,
Totally. And the proofing process, so for people who don't know entirely what
Yeah.
the transcription process looks like, as you had said, you're going to create a transcript from an audio
Yeah.
file of some sort, and then we send that off to proofers. Even me as a stenographic reporter,
Yeah.
some people use Scopus, some people,
Yeah.
you know, you have the ability to
Right.
outsource all kinds of things. But yeah, I
Right.
mean, I literally thought it was quote unquote, but it's quote unquote. And if I didn't have a proofreader
Yeah.
to correct that,
Yeah.
you know, there's just so many little things like that, right?
Yeah.
Is it day and age, day in age, you know, those types
Yeah.
of things where
How to use a semicolon?
Yeah.
That's probably my biggest
yeah.
like failure, but I know how to do it now.
Yes.
So
I
yeah.
love a semicolon. I really do. Especially because of the way that people talk.
Yeah.
So, you know, attorneys will say, like, you know, what happened? And you go, I went to the store, my mom fed the dog, my child did
Yeah.
their homework. Those are separate sentences, but it's kind of all one thing,
Yeah.
you know? So, yeah, I love a semicolon.
Yeah.
It makes me feel so professional. you
Yeah.
know?
Recognizing a comma splice, you know, it's a big accomplishment.
Yeah.
You know, I'm like, oh, I had no idea. So yeah.
Yeah.
It's just learning all that stuff.
For sure.
Which I thought I knew pretty well, but
I know, but the English language is
Yeah.
bananas.
Yeah.
Let's be real. I mean, we drive on parkways and park on driveways. I
Yeah.
don't understand
Yeah.
who's in charge around here,
Very true.
but it is pretty nuts.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I would say that is a big accomplishment.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Well, as we wrap things up here, Bonnie, is there anything that you would want to say, to an 18-year-old who is just saying, I don't know what I want to do with my life?
I would say to look for something for work that intrigues you and is interesting to you and you want to learn more about, and keep your hobbies separate.
Oh, that is good advice. Yes. And would you say that your work as a transcriptionist is interesting and intrigues you?
Yeah, that's part of why I got into it. I went to school actually for equine science because
Which is horses?
horses.
Oh,
yeah.
wow.
So I had horses, and I'm like, oh, I love horses. I'm going to go to school for it. So that's why I say keep your hobby separate. You don't necessarily have to make it your career.
Yeah, definitely. Because then it kind of loses its magic, right?
Yeah. You can have a career that you are interested, I didn't realize I was interested in legal transcription, but I've always been curious about courtrooms and the documentaries on trials, all that kind of stuff I was always interested in. So, do something that interests you that you're good at.
Yeah.
Find something you're good at and keep your hobbies separate.
Yeah.
Or keep you happy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or something you can be good at, right?
Yeah.
Like you definitely don't
Yeah.
have to start out good at
Right.
it, but yeah.
Yeah. Like I was always good at typing. So I'm like, okay, let's get into transcription, right?
Yeah.
But you still learn a lot even though you're good at something.
Totally agree.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So.
Well, it's been really great talking to you. Thank you so
thanks.
much for taking
Of
the time.
course. Yeah.
This has been the STAR Podcast at AAERT, and we will see you next time.